Hi, folks, and welcome back to the only show where a guy to whom simply falling down is often a medical emergency tries to teach you how to survive in Minecraft's hardest difficulty. I am sure this will in no way go wrong at all. So, in the last episode, our first episode, we got a pretty good start on things. We got ourselves a little base here that we've taken over in a village. We went over the 4 basic rules of survival in Minecraft Hardcore, and now we're going to actually put more of those rules into effect today. So, I did a little bit of work off camera. I know that's totally a meme, but in this case, it was a little bit of work. So, and when I say a little bit of work, I sort of cleaned things up. So I cleaned up the entrance to the mine over here because I couldn't stand having it just being rough cobblestone out there. So when in doubt, spam staircases. That makes everything look better. So we did that. So we gathered some resources. I've expanded my storage system. I'm using air quotes there here a little bit with a second box. So our storage system now consists of rocks and not rocks, and food, which we're running very low on, and some precious materials down here. Now, as you notice, I've gotten a little bit more diamonds. Yay! I found about 30 diamonds. So if we wanted to, we could make full diamond armor. I'm going to hold off on that, though, because I would much rather have armor from a villager trade versus using up all my diamonds to do it. We've also got some iron, which is good, a little bit of gold, copper, plenty of redstone, lapis, coal, 1 emerald. And the food situation is what worries me, though, and that's what we're actually going to tackle today. We also wrangled up some cows and some pigs. So we've got a couple pigs over here. These were already here, which was really nice. So all I had to do was just sort of take the tree out of there and start feeding them. This I had to wrangle a cow over, and now we've got a fair population of cows. We're going to need them for the leather because we're going to need an enchanting setup very quickly. Because if you notice down there at the bottom of the screen, I now have 34 levels thanks to my off-camera work as far as mining and breeding up animals and sort of doing some basic, just sort of looking around a little bit at the area we've got. So before we get going today, let's go ahead and recap where we were from last episode. So we went over the 4 first rules of hardcore Minecraft survival. And that is Rule 0, which was don't be stupid. And this applies to life, too, by the way. It doesn't just apply to Minecraft. But Rule 0 is don't be stupid. If all other rules fail, see Rule 0 and ask yourself, is this stupid? And if your answer is, well, probably, you might want to think about not doing it. And then, of course, Rule 1 is patience. Always have patience when you're playing through hardcore. Don't just go willy-nilly off running and doing things. You have to have patience to make sure you're not going to die. Rule 2 is embrace minimalism, which we're trying to do. It's a little harder now that I have an established base here to be minimalistic about things, but we also haven't gone on any kind of adventuring spree yet, so we need to kind of just sort of try and practice that as much as we possibly can when we go places. But for right now, since we actually do have some storage back here, we can actually grab some stuff that's just because we want to grab it versus it's going to help us live. And Rule 3, village life is best life. Well, we're in a village, so we kind of followed that one. Now we just have to actually get the villagers into some sort of miniature trading hub kind of thing, which we'll probably be doing in forthcoming episodes. Probably not today, though. And Rule 4, constant vigilance. Always keep an eye out on your surroundings. Always keep an eye out on your health situation, your armor situation, your tools, all that kind of stuff. The last thing you want to do is be in a fight and have your sword go out on you. And it's night. We should probably go sleep. So what we're going to focus on today is safety and sustainability. Safety, I mean, that's a pretty self-explanatory term. Safety, we want to be safe, right? So right now, we're pretty safe. In our house, lit up, no attacking mobs, no critters, no creepers, nothing like that. Nothing spawning in here we have to worry about. So, but we're talking about safety in the long term rather than just in the short term here. Yeah, this little house is great for a while, but it's not going to be meeting our standards for very much longer here. This is kind of pitiful. I mean, it's kind of pathetic that I'm living in a pre-built villager house and I've just put a couple of signs above it. So, I mean, it's not terrible. Don't get me wrong. I've seen and built. Trust me, I've built them worse places. So it's not awful, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to help us out for a long term here. So we definitely want to get something that's a little bit bigger, a little bit grander, but also safe. And the other thing we're going to focus on today is sustainability. So notice down there I've got 61 bread on me, which seems, not terrible. I've got enough food to last me for a while. But That's finite, because notice I'm down to 13 hay bales here, and I've got a few other things. I mean, I've got some potatoes and carrots, which is fine. I can make a few of those up. I've got some honey bottles now. Yay! I've got apples. I've got a piece of beef. I've got a little bit more bread in here. In fact, let's grab that bread. But we don't really have any kind of long-term solution to sustainability at this point. I mean, these little farms we've got up here and over here are fine, but they're not the long-term answer. They'll work in the short term, but for long term, they're not really going to help us out. So I want to focus on that today, mostly on the sustainability aspect of safety and sustainability, because they go hand in hand. If you can't sustain yourself, then you're not safe. So we kind of need to tackle that. Now, off camera, I went over here and did a little bit of exploring in this area, and I think we are actually going to build our base up there in that really cool looking area. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do yet, but I definitely want to do something up there, which means that we need to start looking at our sustainable farms, our self-sustaining, and our basic agriculture somewhere down in this area here. I'm not quite sure where it's going to go yet, but we're going to start putting things down over here so that they're within easy reach of whatever kind of base we put up there. This tree is staying. Whatever happens, this tree is staying because that tree is really cool looking. We need to focus on maybe doing a little bit of terraforming in this area, sort of flattening out maybe this hill down to about there, because I'm thinking that right in here is where we're going to want our first subsistence farm to go. And I'm going to focus on potatoes for right now, because potatoes are actually a really good early game food source. They're really easy to farm, they're really easy to make, and we're going to probably be subsisting on those for a while. Yes, we've got the cow farm going, but we need that for leather, and we can't really, because we don't have looting on our sword, we really can't count on that for any kind of long-term food at this point. So potatoes are probably going to be where it's at for now, but we're going to basically make a fairly sizable potato farm over there and see where we go from there. I think it's actually time to feed the cows. So we only have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 9 cows. This needs to be more cows. Hang on, we can fix that problem. Yeah, this feels inhumane. I think I need to take cows. Oh my god, it froze the game. There's so many cows in this pen. All right, we got to take care of this. So avert your eyes for just a second. And with that unpleasantness out of the way, and now that I have delicious steak to snack upon, steak. I don't know where this came from. It's just magical. It just appeared in my inventory. We can talk about this back here. So this is going to be where we're going to have our potato and probably wheat and carrot farm as well. So let's talk about what we're doing here. So what we've got is we have a effectively 5x5 area in the center here with platforms that are going to be going out in every one of the cardinal directions. Now, each one of these are 8 across because that's exactly how far water will flow. So water will flow all the way down here, hit this, and then everything will flow into here. And because of the way we have this built, one water source there will take everything into this corner where we'll have a hopper that will go down to a collection chest underneath. Now, in future, we might have this set up so it goes to some kind of sorting system, so it sorts everything out. Maybe the potatoes will go directly into a smelter to turn them into baked potatoes. I'm not quite sure yet. But for now, anyway, we'll just have a hopper and a collection chest underneath. So each one of these platforms, being 5 across and 8 long, will allow us to make a very super simple semi-automatic farm. It's not going to be fully automatic because we need villagers for that, and the villagers we have over there I'm saving for things like trades and potentially a micro iron farm. But for right now, we're just going to have these as semi-automatic. So in other words, you'll plant manually. When they get to the finally grown, you'll harvest them by pressing a button, or actually in this particular case, throwing a lever that will activate all 4 of these simultaneously. Water will flow out, flow over the crops, break the crops. They'll all go down into this area, into the hopper, into the collection chest. Ta-da, done. Very simple, very easy to do. So let's just go ahead and get these platforms set up, and then we'll worry about getting these redstone components in here after we've got that taken care of. And while we're grabbing some more dirt for our platforms, I want to just real quick talk about the first episode of this and the response that I got to it, which was astounding. I really didn't know how people were going to feel about me being gone for as long as I was and then coming back and putting out more content, and I decided not to even talk about it in the first episode because I didn't want to talk about it. I still don't want to talk about it, so I'm not going to talk about it. But I am going to say thank you all so very much for the response on that first episode. It felt really good. It feels really good to be making content again, and this last year has been non-optimal from a creative standpoint for me for a lot of different reasons. Like I said, I'm not going to really go into, but to see people who I'd hung out with on the TriCraft server, who I'd hung out with on Twitch and other places, respond the way they did to the episode made me feel really good. So thank you all very, very much for all of that. It's really appreciated, and I hope this series actually goes for quite some time, and I don't, do something dumb and fall down a hole and die, or, ender pearl into something and fall off a cliff, or something equally stupid. Or I'll break all my legs going down this. All right, let's finish off these platforms. And after a quick redesign, because I forgot how Minecraft water works, because I haven't built one of these farms in a really, really, really long time, here is what we've got laid out. I chose the Cobble Deep Slate because actually I really like the way the Cobble Deep Slate just by itself looks, to be perfectly honest with you. I think it's a really cool looking texture. So we're going to have that as the outskirts. So here's our main area. This is where our redstone's going to go. And if you notice, we put that in there, and we have reduced this to now 6 blocks of growing area, but this has stayed at 8 blocks because, if you notice, this will go out, it'll flow down here, and it will flow all the way across right to that water right there. So that's perfect. That is exactly what we want. So we only have a 6 block growing area up here, unfortunately, but we have an 8 block growing area down here. And yes, we're going to actually have water pretty much right there for each one of these on each side. So we'll have water put in so that we don't have to worry about having water streams or having water areas up there in our actual farm. So we won't have to play any kind of weird games as far as how do we get water in the middle here and then go that way and whatever. That's not going to be a big deal. So we'll just put water on the sides. That'll be able to get all of this. So we could almost get away with having it only on one side. Unfortunately, it's 5 wide rather than 4 wide, so we're going to need water on both sides. But that's not a big deal. We can go ahead and put that in. And then we're going to build up dirt around this to make it look like it's more of a kind of a natural area, sort of, as natural as we can make it look anyway. So, but that's how the whole thing is going to look here. And then just imagine dirt being, the rest of this out here. So it looks kind of like a hill that we've repurposed into a farm is the idea I've got here. So let's go ahead and get the rest of this put in, and I'll be back with you after that. All right, so the rest of the water is in. All the redstone is in. I mean, granted, it's not the most complicated redstone on the face of the planet, but we basically want to make it so you pull one lever and all of this goes. So, I mean, it's not the prettiest thing, but we'll work on that later. So if my calculations are correct, we flip this lever, and then all of these are going to go in sequence. So this one, then this one, then this one, this one. So hopefully I've gotten all of this right. Let's find out. There we go. Ha ha ha. It works. So then we just pull the lever again, and it shuts them all off. Everything goes back to the way it was. That's fantastic. That's exactly how I wanted that to look. Awesome. I thought I'd screwed something up there at first, but turns out it just needed I just needed to pull the lever to prime the system. I'd forgotten about that if you don't prime the system first, it doesn't work all that well. But anyway, we got it working. Yay! All right, let's get all this land hoed up and get some crops in. And there we go. We have a functional semi-automatic potato and carrot farm. So we'll have carrots on that side over there in that one little area, and then in the other three modules we'll have potatoes. So we basically have our sustainability figured out now. So all we got to do is wait for these to all grow. We can harvest them, replant, and fill up everything over there. So we'll have three modules of potatoes, one module of carrots. That should be more than enough carrots to trade with farmers and all of the potatoes we could ever want to eat. So yeah, we'll have, I guess, burgers and fries since we've got cows over there. And we're gonna have to pretty this up now because this is kind of ugly. So let's see if we can pretty it up a little bit by adding in some dirt, some trees, some bushes, just on the outside areas and these little corners over here, and then also our storage system area needs a little bit of prettying up too. So let's go sleep, and we'll do that. All right, so God's gift to landscaping, I am not. I am no Scar. I mean, I'm not even a mumbo. But I think this turned out pretty well, to be perfectly honest with you. So we've got some trees growing. I was gonna do some custom trees, but I said, you know what? I honestly, I'm one of those weird people that I kind of like the way the trees grow in Minecraft, so I just decided to put in some fairly natural trees here. So we've got rocks, we've got buttons standing in as smaller rocks, staircases and slabs taking the place of actual rock formations. I chose cobblestone because I think that's the most rock-like texture, honestly, and we've already used, deep slate up there. Leaves as bushes. We've got lanterns floating around here for lighting because we need to light up the build anyway, and then I really like the way lanterns look. We actually need, hang on, let's get my hotbar up, that might actually be handy. Let's do that. I don't like that. Let's do this. Does that look better? I think it does. Yeah, I think that looks better. Let's put a couple more bushes up here just to see if we can. Yeah, there we go. That looks good. And a little bit of path blocks here and there as well. And when these become grass, it'll look better too. So, but I'm pretty happy with the way this turned out. So now imagine that on all four corners there, sort of not necessarily hiding the build, because I mean there's really not a whole lot of ways you can hide this, but just making it look like it's less intrusive and more that it was just, this is what was here to start with, and we're just sort of digging out the middle area and making our farm out of it. But I'm actually pretty happy with this. I think it actually turned out not too bad. So we need another lantern over here. Yeah, right about there. It looks good. Yeah, that'll work. So yeah, we just use lanterns and just some real basic materials. I mean, we don't have access to multiple types of trees or leaves right now. We basically have birch or oak, and the birch leaves kind of look kind of meh. And the spruce leaves are just, they're too dark, I think, for bushes actually. So whereas the oak leaves work out pretty well. I wish I had azalea leaves or flowering azalea leaves, and we'll probably come back later on when we get those and sort of fill it in. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way this turned out. Now I just got to do it on the other three sides. And of course, do something with our entrance down here, because this is pretty ghetto right now. I mean, it's what it is, but I need to sort of add in like a little pathway going down here to our storage system. And of course, once these are all grown in, we just got to go ahead and harvest, replant, and go from there. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way this is turning out. So off camera, I'll probably go ahead and just sort of polish this off and make all four sides look more like this. So maybe less trees. I don't know. God, I like the trees though. I really like the way the trees fit in there. So we'll do that on the other two sides, and then the third side over there we'll change it up a little bit for the pathway going through. But for the most part, I think this actually turned out looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. And that's going to be it for today's episode of Hardcore Heroes. We've made our sustainable potato and carrot farm, so we are actually going to have plenty of food for the rest of our hardcore adventure here. And of course, we've got the cow farm over there, and we need to figure out something for a wheat farm too. I might just do wheat manually. It's not as fun as a potato and carrot farm here, especially one that's of this size. This is actually the largest semi-automatic potato and carrot farm I think I've ever done. Actually, I've usually done it on a much smaller scale, but I'm really happy with the way this is going to turn out. So I hope you had fun today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something along the way about playing in hardcore Minecraft with the idea of safety and sustainability. And we've got the sustainability part down. In the next episode, we're probably going to tackle safety, i.e. start on our mountain bridge base up there, as you can see to the top left of the screen. So we're going to work on that probably next episode. But I hope you had an enjoyable time here. I hope you had fun. Make sure you go out tonight, play some games, have some fun, whether it's Minecraft or anything else. And I'll see you all in the next episode. Have a fantastic evening.